We will now start the press conference for Minister Kamikawa for Foreign Affairs. Minister, please.
I have one point at the outset. Japan held United Nations Security Council presidency for the second time during this tenure last month, March. As the UNSC faces challenging situation with greater division than last year, Japan served as the bridge among Security Council members, and Japan did its utmost so that the Security Council can fulfill its expected responsibilities. To respond to pressing issues, including peace building, prevention of conflict, DPRK, and the Middle East and Africa and Ukraine and regional issues, we convened 32 official meetings as the Security Council. I myself visited New York on the 18th, and following the Prime Minister Kishida's speech at last year's United Nations General Assembly General Debate, I convened the ministerial meeting on nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation and stimulated discussion for world without nuclear weapons. Regarding Gaza situation, Japan, as a co-sponsor of resolution and presidency, did utmost for discussion and coordination. As a result of very difficult negotiations, Security Councils adopted a resolution demanding a ceasefire during the month of Ramadan, and in total, 5 resolutions were adopted. I also promoted discussion on WPS, and on the 18th Security Council meeting, we issued a joint press statement emphasizing the effectiveness of securing women's empowerment and participation in peace building and prevention of conflict. Also, when I visited New York, I hosted the 4th WPS and innovation meeting with UN-related stakeholders. At the same time, I had a discussion on WPS with Japanese staff members actively working in the UN agencies. As the international situation becomes increasingly severe, Security Council has to play its expected role. And Japan, as a responsible member of the Security Council, in cooperation with other members, we will continue to actively contribute to international peace and security. That's all. Thank you very much. Please raise your hand if you have a question. If you are called upon, please come to the nearest microphone and state your name and affiliation before you ask a question. NHK 五十嵐さん。NHK 五十嵐, thank you. I have a question regarding Middle East situation. The Iran's embassy in Syria was attacked, and Iran is saying that this is an act of Israel, and the United Nations decided to convene extraordinary emergency meeting tomorrow morning. What is your take? What is the take of the government of Japan?
On the 1st of April, in Damascus of Syria, the Iranian embassy facility has been attacked by missiles. And it has been reported that Iranian officers have died. According to this case, on the 2nd, in New York time, at the UNSC, emergency meeting is now being coordinated to be held. For this matter, we will, it is very difficult to ascertain the details. Therefore, we cannot give a definitive evaluation at this point in time. However, we will watch the situation very carefully with interest. Now, Chugoku Shimbun, Miyami-san, please. Chugoku Shimbun, my name is Miyano. Regarding the Hiroshima, the Peace Memorial Museum, the visitors has reached the highest ever in 2023 at 1.98 million. This is because of the G7 Hiroshima summit. The government has been asking everyone to visit from all over the world through the Hiroshima Action Plan as well as Hiroshima Vision. What is your evaluation of the new record set for the visitors and its significance toward a world without nuclear arms? What is your impression of a visit to this museum?
According to the city of Hiroshima, as you mentioned, the Hiroshima Atomic Bomb Museum received the highest number of visitors in fiscal 2023, and the increase of the visitors to the museum is very significant in order to foster accurate understanding on the realities of nuclear weapons and also to realize the world without nuclear weapons. Also, I myself, in terms of my impression, in the past, I have visited this atomic bomb museum, and at that time, I made my recognition once again anew that we should never repeat such a tragedy with nuclear weapons. I am sure that young people and also visitors from home and abroad, I think this is going to be very important, and the museum is playing an extremely important role that based on my experience, I can say that. And also communicating the reality of nuclear weapons to the world is very important because it is a starting point of the various initiatives toward the nuclear disarmament. From that perspective, government in Hiroshima Action Plan and also G7 leaders' Hiroshima Vision on nuclear disarmament are calling upon world leaders and young people to visit the site of atomic bomb. And through such efforts, we are trying to promote people's visit to the site. And more concretely, G7 summit and also meeting of international group of eminent persons for a world free of nuclear weapons. It was held in Hiroshima, and also we are inviting United Nations Disarmament Fellowship participants to the Hiroshima because this program targets young diplomats and national defense related people. Last year, we launched Youth Non-Nuclear Leaders Fund by the United Nations with the Japanese funding. And this year we are going to see more people visiting Hiroshima to promote the understanding of the reality of nuclear weapons. We will make efforts on continued basis as the only country to have suffered atomic bombing to encourage visit to this Harakawa Sankei. In 2018, when Mr. Kono was the foreign minister, at that time, foreign minister established a climate change-related blue ribbon panel. In this panel, there are members from Renewable Energy Foundation of Japan, including Mika Obayashi. So 3 people of this panel with 9 members in total come from the same organization, REF. And Ms. Obayashi Mika is also serving as a member of the task force of the cabinet office, and also she presented materials with a logo of Chinese company, and people thought that Chinese influence is actually working toward the formulation of Japanese policy. So against this situation, once again, I would like to ask you why 3 out of 9 come from the same organization as was mentioned in the diet. So once again, I would like to seek your views. Now, the selection of members of this panel, how selection was made, and was it up to Foreign Minister Kono, or was there any other approaches taken to select members of the panel? Please tell me how people were selected, members were selected.
No, regarding the panel that you have asked a question about is related to climate change. The objective was to find the policy direction amongst regarding the global trends in the world, as well as amongst the NGO researchers, as well as companies involved in climate change matters in 2018. For the panel, it included a wide selection of people from international organizations, companies, financial institutions, NGOs, research centers, as well as universities. Regarding the climate change issues, it is important to engage in discussions from a wide perspective amongst a wide number of people. I understand that Minister Kono at that time was consulted and the appropriate decision-making was made at the ministry for the establishment of this panel. This is Sanke Haraka-san. Now, the panel has made two proposals to the Minister Kono. For example, in the 2018, Bangladesh, at that time, the support for the Bangladesh coal-fired power plant support was decided, but the suspension of the support, is that reflecting the opinions of the panel that you have just referred to?
Regarding the Bangladesh project you mentioned, that is Mata Valley ultra supercritical coal-fired thermal power generation plant phase 2. And in view of the G7 summit meeting-based commitments and also international debate trend regarding coal-fired thermal generation, and also in consultation with the Bangladeshi side, in June 2020, we decided not to pursue this project as a Yenlong project anymore. Now, the recommendation of this Blue Ribbon panel, this is produced by the experts on climate change, based on the international trend and discussion in this area. So this recommendation is what the experts' views are compiled in. So in February 2018, panel's recommendation has no direct bearing on the decision announced in June 2022. Katsurada-san, Kyodo News. Kyodo News, Katsurada. I have a question regarding the funding to UNRWA. Today, you announced the resumption of the funding to UNRWA. How are you going to ensure transparency of the activity of the organization? And also, Japan's unique monitoring mechanism will be established. In what concrete way are you going to operate that? When was the timing for the resumption of the funding?
Japan's funding resumption will be addressed. In that regard, Japan UNRWA project management monitoring mechanism has been accepted for this purpose. Last week, Commissioner General Lazzarini visited Japan. We have engaged in discussions, and through that, this is one of the measures that are being committed to Japan by UNRWA. The funding of Japan's appropriateness will be ensured by this new mechanism. More specifically, in each of the field offices, a monitoring working group will be established, and each working group will have engagement by a Japanese official of UNRWA, so that monitoring will be conducted for the progress made in the project as well as the funding flow. Based on this, the Japanese government, UNRWA, as well as outside expert will be holding a program council meeting at least twice a year, receiving a report for the project management as well as monitoring, and appropriateness will be evaluated. Regarding the resumption of the funding, there are days to be considered for the procedures on the UNRWA side. Therefore, we cannot fix a date yet. But taking into consideration the prevailing situation, we would like to expedite the resumption of the funding as soon as possible. Major Furukan-san, please. I have 2 questions. I would like to receive your question in writing or in verbally. The Israel's bombings in Gaza has led to unjustified housing construction and unjustified land seizures in Palestine. Shifa hospital evaluation is also what I would like to ask a question about. I would like to know the government's intention in this matter.
Thank you for the question. The particularly unjustified housing construction and land seizures. Regarding that point, let me explain. Israeli government, even in March, approved a plan to build about 3,500 houses in settlement area in the West Bank. In this way, the government continues settlement activity. Up until now, we have taken various opportunities to repeat our stance. Japan's stance is that Israeli settlement activities is in violation of international law, and also that would undermine the viability of two-state solution. Based on this position, Japan has been strongly urging Israeli government to fully freeze settlement activities. But we will continue to take necessary actions going forward. And also, violence by Israeli settlers is not acceptable at all. In order to clarify Japan's position such as this, we will consider what action we should take going forward, and at the same time, we will continue to urge the Israeli government to take necessary action. Thank you. Next question, please. Yomiuri Shimbun, Kudo-san. Kudo of Yomiuri Shimbun. The Korean Central News Agency said that according to DPRK's ambassador to China, Lee Ryong-nam, Japanese embassy staff of Beijing contacted with North Korean embassy members on the 28th. Could you clarify the facts and the Japan's intention? And also, what is your take regarding the DPRK's action in this regard?
The reporting that you've mentioned is known to me. But we will refrain from making comments for each comment that is issued by the DPRK. Prime Minister Kishida, up till now, has been trying to realize a leaders' meeting, a summit meeting, in order to resolve the issues we have with the DPRK. And we will do our utmost to realize such a process going forward, but we will not give any further details on this matter at this point in time. This is the end of the press conference. Thank you very much.